Bobby, I'm so glad you're back in Altadena in this beautiful house.
Thank you so much. We're in Pasadena, you know.
Oh, okay, we're right on the border now.
Woodbury Road
okay.
separates the two.
Yeah, Woodbury, that's
But
right.
I still tell people I live in Altadena.
Yeah, well, you're an Altadena man. So.
Right.
You know, I think you are very likely the senior most legacy artist from our community. As far as I know.
Well, you mean you're talking about in senior age?
Yeah.
Well, I'm older than Benny Maupin.
Yeah.
I'm older than, quite a bit older than John Clayton.
Yeah. Well, if you're not the most senior most, you're up there.
I'm close.
Up there with them.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you, first of all, as you've always been this incredibly innovative composer, improviser, and educator, and you've been so long in this place. What does Altadena mean to you as far as the culture that we have here and the people, and what does it mean to you to be here for so long, sharing your art and your music?
Well, first of all, I felt safe here in lots of ways, to the extent that we never locked my studio in the back of the house. We never had any problem with related to people, housebreak or anything like that. We were surrounded by every ethnic group you could imagine,
Right.
So
Yeah.
we felt a real sense of, what's the word for tolerance, if you will, in the community.
Yeah.
The schools nearby were good. My kids from my first family,
Yeah.
grew up here. They went to elementary school, middle school, and high school
Yeah.
in Altadena, and then Pasadena.
Yep.
And so we never had any problems on that level. I might have had some problems with them about studying, as any parent does with their kids.
Know that.
The option of Pasadena City College right down the road.
Yeah, you're a legendary teacher there.
Yeah, I taught.
How many years you taught at PCC?
33.
Wow.
But the idea was, and the message wasn't clear, that if you weren't ready for a 4-year college and couldn't get in, maybe you could certainly get in after 2 years at PCC. That had always been a standing, and kids used to make jokes about it. This, well, where did you get in? UCLA or SL? So no, I went to the University of Colorado
Boulevard.
You heard that joke too, haven't you? But that's a wonderful.
It's a great and a great music department, and they have great languages.
Listen, they got a nurses school there.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Automotive, they got a lot going on. So,
And in addition, there was also a serious body of active artists in the area.
Absolutely.
You see, painters, dancers, lots of musicians whose names don't come to me right now, grew up in this area.
Oh yeah.
Guys that I would see, I didn't work with, but I'd see around town. We all knew we lived in Altadena, but we went our separate ways in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's such a rich culture. And you've just been such an exemplar of innovation, because I feel like our town has a history of artistry, but not just innovative artistry, people who are pushing the boundaries. Like so much of the music you've done for decades, really showing people that there's some place to get to new. There's some new sonic horizons.
Well, somebody just sent me an email with an interview with Charles Mingus during a period where Ornette Coleman was the subject of serious controversy. And anyway, at one point, when Ornette Coleman first got to New York in '59, there was a real hostile reception.
Wow.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mingus included. But in this particular interview, probably a couple of years later, Mingus has sort of backed off and taken a little different posture.
Yeah.
But anyhow, the question arises about Ornette Coleman, the interviewer. I'm trying to remember who the writer was who interviewed him for that article. Maybe I'll think of it in a minute. He asked him, well, what about Ornette Coleman's blah, 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 blah. And so Mingus said something like, he only plays in the key of C, F, G, and B flat. Because when he plays, I can play a pedal C under all of it. It sounds good. That's just, and you thought, well, you're smarter than that to make a statement like this. But he goes on to say, so this guy, you want to say to him, you want to clarify that? But what he's trying to do is backtrack a little bit so he softened what he said originally. And he and lots of other people, big names, like Miles Davis and people like that said Ornette Coleman was a fraud and all.
Right.
But he was the guy who came to New York determined to play his music.
Yep.
And
what
I respected about him more than anything else is he didn't give an inch. And they were coming at him from every direction.
Mm-hmm.
The critics, the other musicians, the art historians and all, and he would just smile and say, well, I'm not sure I understand all these questions you're asking here, but I came to New York because I wanted people to hear my music.
Right.
I want to be heard, you see? And this is what I have. He's got one album called This Is Our Music with him and I think Blackwell and
Charlie.
And Charlie and Ed Blackwell.
Yeah.
Right? And so he said,
Don Cherry maybe something.
Yeah, Don Cherry's on it too. It was, I think, an Atlantic album. He said, this is my music. And people said, well, it doesn't do this. It doesn't. He said, it comes to me this way. And I don't try to, sandpaper it down to fit the scene. He said, you get what I heard.
That's right.
And so one of the things that I learned from him, I got lots of questions over the years. Don't hesitate when you have an idea, which meant now, on the one hand, you knew you were maybe wouldn't get the proper reception that you wanted from it, but you were prepared for the heat. You see, meaning there are going to be lots of moneyless periods, and that you have to be willing now to work and work by now hands-on work.
I remember when you told me when you first met Ornette in downtown LA, he was a bellhop, right?
Well, no, I met him in Texas, but But we wound up
when you wound up started playing together. Yeah,
we were both working at a department store in downtown LA, Bullock's. He's like a stock boy,
Yeah,
you're walking around in the furniture section. You say, "I like that lamp."
Yeah,
you don't get that.
Ornette Coleman.
Yeah, right. And so they send either me or Ornette to the basement of the building to take that lamp out. I used to make up jokes. I'd have a name like this. I said, Miss Buff Orpington wants to buy this lamp. And I just made that name up. I've never stopped using it. I can't imagine anybody named Buff Orpington. It's great, isn't it? And so we take the lamp. That's what we did. You call it stock boy.
Yeah.
And so when I left.
This is mid-50s?
Well, this is 53, 54.
Wow, okay.
When I got drafted, you see, in I think, you get the official notice and you get the exam and all, I think in, September. And I actually showed up for duty 3 days after Christmas. Ornette was called, but he didn't pass the physical because he had a broken collarbone that didn't heal properly. And the bone stuck up sort of like that, and he said when he took off his shirt, the doctor told him, "Oh, you just get back in the line. There's no point." He broke it playing sandlot football, but this bone here healed.
In Texas.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The bone healed like that. And it stuck up underneath the skin like this. You see.
Oh my gosh.
So in the army, right away you say, "Okay, get out of line." But I went, and I left. When I left, he was working at Bullock's. And I don't know when I talked to him or who. My mother used to write me, when I was in the military. She said, that friend of yours that you used to play around town with, he's getting to be a big star. Because there'll be articles of him in the black newspaper.
Yeah.
Anyhow, somewhere they said, well, he was now an elevator operator. Let's move up, I guess.
Wow. Wow. Well, so many people who know about your work with Ornette Coleman and, of course, John Carter and others. But what can you tell us about your history with Horace Tapscott and UGMA and the orchestra and everything? Because I know you have a connection back to probably the 60s with that.
Well, you see, I knew Horace Tapscott, during the same period I was working with Ornette around town. Wow. Horace was still a trombone player then.
Wow.
And a writer and arranger too, but he still actively played trombone. I'm talking about 1953 now.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, same period.
Yeah, he was one of the many names around town, the young guys trying to make a move. But the UGMA and the other groups that he put in motion, I think that probably started in the late 50s as this new rise in black consciousness began to make itself known. In fact, I said to somebody once, because right after the riots, uprisings, and you know how you have to go qualify that.
Watts.
Yes.
The 60s.
Yeah. 64.
Yeah.
Horace really made some big moves in that period. And so one guy asked me, he said, well, the whole community was angry and outraged at how they were being treated in Los Angeles. And it just exploded one day. And then this, that, and the other. Some people said, oh, no, they had been planning that for decades. And, you know, the politics and that. But anyhow, so the person that was asking me the question, he said, well, how he was asking about Horace then. This has only been about, 10 years ago. I said, Horace was angry like the rest of us. But Horace took the A from angry to action. You see, somebody called me and asked me, Bradford, did you make that up? I said, yeah, that was just, I just happened to pick that word. But he, beyond just being angry and tearing up something, he decided to organize these groups that would play in the community.
Constructive work.
Exactly. Raise consciousness to the issues and to do something.
Yeah.
Don't just sit there and complain. So I think the first group might have been the Pan-African People's Orchestra and then UGMA, but I may have it backwards. UGMA may have been the first.
Maybe,
yeah. But he would take people into the band. Sometimes he'd say to somebody when he just met somebody, "Where you play?" And I'm bassoon. Now you are now our official bassoon player. Never heard of the guy. He knew how to assemble the bassoon. But you knew right away if you showed up at one of his rehearsals, you could tell if you were in the right place or not.
Right.
And he endless rehearsals. Every day in different garages around people at his place too. But there were people who rallied around him, you see.
Yeah.
And there was no such thing as any money right away,
Yeah.
You did it out of love and loyalty to the cause, you see. So John Carter and I would appear with the orchestra sometimes, because when John and I first started to play together, there was a quartet.
Right.
But often we would break away from the quartet just as a duo. And we played in both of those orchestras with Horace. But we, of course, were trying to get our thing, you see.
Yeah.
We didn't have any problem with what he was doing, but we didn't intend to become a soldier in his orchestra. We were trying to build our own little army, you see. But that's the period that I met, of course, Michael Sessions and Arthur Blythe and what's the bass player's name?
Miranda?
Oh no, I didn't know Miranda quite yet. This is the guy, Dave Bryant.
Oh, okay.
And those people whose names you know from all the way back there that were playing in his band. We played a lot of these performances of his in the local schools,
Yeah.
Several at Fauché Middle School,
Schools and churches.
Schools and churches, sometimes in the parks,
Yeah.
And it's still at that point, nobody was making any money, Sometimes when people would give, what do they call it,
honorarium.
Honorarium, something like that. But how far does that go when you got 20 guys up there? But it meant a lot to these guys to say, people are listening to us, they're giving us a forum where we can say what it is we want to say. Yeah. He's wonderful, man. He's a brilliant composer and pianist. And he was a damn good trombone player, too. At one point, I think he played with Lionel Hampton,
I did read that.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Something happened where Horace something hit the horn and knocked it into his teeth. I might have been an auto crash or whatever, but he quit playing the trombone because of an accident. He didn't just decide he was going to stop, So
that's when he went.
Yeah, that's when he started. Well, he always played the piano, like Don Cherry. Yeah. But then he started to focus on it, Once the trombone wasn't a realistic avenue for him.
Well, I'm just so excited to have you back with the orchestra in January in 2026. Can you believe we're almost there?
Yes.
1 year after this fire.
Yes.
What a journey it's been, man. It's so cool that Michaela has taken on Michael's the mantle to keep this group going, and to have you up there with them in January is just going to be such. It's like completing a circle. Well, after all this has happened to us.
Michaela, when he started to take command of this group, he was after me to join the group for the longest time. But I said, Michaela, I can't do what we used to do.
Yeah.
I can't show up like you guys do for a rehearsal. And we sit around and smoke from 2 to 4. You see, then at 4 we start talking about the rehearsal. And then they're there until 10 o'clock that night. But see, that's the way that band functions. I said, I can't do that anymore, you know? And he said, well, maybe you could do that. I said, no, man, I'll get in the car and drive from Altadena over here. I expect to have a rehearsal for a couple of hours after I get there and get back home.
Yeah.
I can't hang out now like I used to, you know?
Well, I'm so glad that we just have to get you up the street for this gig.
Yeah.
Zorthian Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the other part of the circle is Charlie Parker used to play up there.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And what an amazing legacy for Altadena.
You know, it's so. I called a couple of my friends in Texas to talk about this, and all we knew about that Zorthian Ranch was that Charlie Parker used to go there and they'd run around the swimming pool stark naked, and Charlie Parker, that was just one of his things, what a bizarre kind of personality he was.
I have the record.
But you know, I know that. But you know, that there was more than just that one occasion. You know, I think I've told you before. There was more than one occasion when Charlie Parker went to the ranch just to kick back, you know, swim and have food and be around people that you know knew him and of course knew who he was and all. Somebody loved somebody there.
Yeah,
he didn't just drive around and stumble up on the Zorthian Ranch.